In this video we'll discuss creating supports for a simple model. This is the front panel of an FM transmitter housing. Before starting with supports, assess the model, viewing it from all aspects, to select best orientation for printing. The model has several openings and overhangs we may consider providing supports for. It also has letters which normally require no supports due to their small depth. On the side we selected as the base of the model there are two holes which actually reduce the contact area with the build plate. So we'll further compensate that by additional supports around the base. Another aspect is that one of the sides of the model was designed skewed. So the model's long sides are not perpendicular to the build plate. During printing, it may create small swinging force acting on the model each time it detaches from FEP film. This will also be compensated by respective supports. Now let's discuss how we selected the base for the model. It's now highlighted in green. As you can see, other sides of the model are not really suitable for the base. They are either too long or narrow, or it will be difficult to support the protruding portions as they will be too close to the base plate if we orientate the model horizontally. Let's have a look at the back side of the model. Here we can see that the small rectangular holes do not need supports as they are narrow and have sloping surfaces at their bottoms. So layers will build on each other without problem. The upper sides of the holes have no slopes because they can physically be printed as they are in this orientation. The model has another overhang, but is an inward one and, naturally, is supported by the upper layers. The next portion that needs supports is the display window. We will have to support its lower edge by adding some supports from the upper edge. Then we have two limiters which also need supports. The limiters have an inward slope, so the pulling force will be decreasing with each layer starting from the slope, which is good for the individual supports of the limiters. And the last portion requiring supports is the protrusions with holes. So, let us start adding supports. When I print directly of the build plate, I most of the times use special tabs I designed separately, adding them to my models. The tabs have one side chamfered which help inserting the spatula to remove the print from the plate. I add them one by one, cloning and rotating them as necessary, around the model. Normally I leave about 3 to 4 mm space between them. I will skip the rest of the tabs at the moment as I will have to rearrange them as the last step. Don't forget to save your work regularly, after each important step. Let's switch to the supports mode. As you can see, the areas requiring supports are now highlighted in purple. I will not add supports to these small holes as their width is small and the portion between the vertical sides of the holes will print without problem. But never ignore the highlighted areas and address them as necessary. In many cases supports will be needed even for unhighlighted portions of your prints. As I mentioned earlier, this side needs to be supported as well, because the pulling forces may produce swinging of the print. This may cause lines or other defects on it. I normally use medium supports, but actually I customize supports for each model and sometimes vary the supports parameters individually. Before we add supports, let's set the contact parameters and other values depending on the expected vertical forces which may be present below the support tips and between each support tip along the horizontal. In most cases I use spherical contact shape as is leave no dents on the surface of the print. After the parameters are set, let's add some supports on the side. Set the view to clearly see the area. After the support is added, adjust the upper diameter of the tip so the cone tip contacts only the sphere, not the surface of the print. Move the elbow around to verify that. Then you can use the setting for the rest of supports. Always double check by viewing the model from different sides. Add other supports and relocate their tips so that they could retain the model from swinging, like I show it in the video now. Also, make sure that the bottoms of the supports touch each other on the build plate, but not the model itself. This will help the supports to properly stick to the build plate. Switch between the normal mode and support mode to view and adjust the positions of the supports. We can proceed with other portions. Add supports is shown to equally distribute the pulling force that acts while the print separates from FEP film. Otherwise, this long horizontal portion will fail, and the portion of the print below will not be printed. We will add two main supports and then branch them to the sides. Locate the upper portions to ensure good contact with the upper edge of the window. Select the upper portion and adjust the upper diameter to be equal or a bit larger than the diameter of the middle portion of the support. To add a branch, double-click the joint. By now, we have different branches among our supports, so, before adding a branch, you can click a branch with different thickness or different contact diameter. To abort branching mode, click anywhere outside the model. Add supports carefully, and delete and re-add the branches if they are not touching the model as required. Better now. Let's add a supports between the two for better strength. Done with this part. Let's move further down. As we did before, we will add one central support to branch it later. For the limiters, we'll choose the point farthest from the model body to place the support. Always reorient the branches and readjust the contact shape and size if you believe that they are not arranged properly, or you should use more but thinner supports on that area. Similarly, add supports for the bottom overhang, evenly distributing the branches on the surface. By now, we have different branches among our supports, so, before adding a branch, you can click a branch with different thickness or different contact diameter. Then double-click the joint where you want to add a new branch, and this new branch will have same parameters as the one you clicked previously. This is a very useful feature. Let's add a couple of strengthening supports. Make sure their bottoms do not touch the print, but touch other supports. Now I'll do the other side, and you can just watch as the process is similar to the previous steps. And the final step. I decided to place the model in the center of the build plate and rotate it 90 degrees on the Z-axis. As you can see, the supporting tabs are separate from the model, and have to be relocated. Make sure the tabs are touching the support bottoms. Switch to support mode to adjust locations of supports, if necessary. When satisfied with the supports, proceed as normal to printing settings, slicing, and saving the file for printing. Thanks for watching.